Chris Bledsoe has been invited by Egyptian authorities to go to Egypt for the release of information that is going to rewrite history. Does this align to Chris's prophecy? A new knowledge must arrive. Mankind must awaken. And when the red star of Regulus aligns just before the dawn in the gaze of the Sphinx, a new knowledge shall come into the world. Interesting. Coincidence? Maybe. I wonder what information that is that's going to be released. So we're going back into the Neptune Moon Oracle today to see what is going to be released. Or what is there something under the pyramids? So let's take a look here. Now I also want to talk about some of the comments in the last video that I done, which was the Easter warning. Now Chris has come out and said that the information he was given from professionals, astrologers, about the date may have been incorrect, and he's moved that further down to October. Now I said in that reading that he was never given a date. That never came from the lady. The date or information came from scientists or from astronomers, not from the lady. The lady was never gave the date. The lady gave the things that would be happening, which would be missiles being exchanged between Iran and Israel, and also the Regulus aligning just before dawn at the gaze of the Sphinx, being red star. Now people are saying in the comments that this is a blue star, which alarm bells go off about the red star, blue star Kachina prophecy. But then we have people are saying that it's to do with the Sahara desert sands, would make this appear on the horizon as a red star. Noted that on the 1st and 2nd of this month there has been a dust storm. Crete, I believe in Greece, is getting that at the moment, so they're getting red. Everything looks red at the moment because of the Sahara sands. So let's take a look and get into this reading. Okay, so first of all, I just want to draw your attention to the Apis bull. Apis bull is an Egyptian god. So we're talking about Egyptian energy. Sitting above that, we're talking about a guarded secret or something that has been protected or guarded knowledge or information. Perhaps about certain gods, Egyptian gods. We also have the Keeper of Destiny, the Akashic Records, the Halls of Amenti. Now they say that they are hidden under the Sphinx. Since we are talking about this card here, which is the Akashic Records or the Halls of Amenti, I want to draw your attention to a researcher on YouTube. His name is Ben Van Kerwick. His channel is called Uncharted X. I was researching him about a month ago, so I wasn't aware of anything about this project or the invitation from the Egyptian officials to Chris Bledsoe. But what Ben Van Kerwick does on his channel is he films pyramids and temples associated with Sobek, which is a crocodile god. This card, I have no crocodile deck in this here, but this one here is saying something about an Egyptian god, and this is what these cards are making me think about. And it was interesting that I researched this just a month ago. He explores underground halls, chambers, and tunnels beneath lesser known pyramids, documenting Hawara, Fayum, and Ko-Ombo, all regions tied to Sobek. Sobek's god is the crocodile god. Is discussing the labyrinth of Hawara, a massive underground complex described by Herodotus. How fascinating is that? They think they've found the labyrinth, the very massive labyrinth. It shows subterranean passages, flooded halls, and sealed rooms. It talks about halls underneath, lesser known pyramids, and talks about the massive labyrinth. Now this card here, the Apis bull, kind of reminds me of the labyrinth, the Minotaur. So the Minotaur, or Minotaur. Now I don't think things happen. I think things happen for a reason. I don't think it's coincidental that a month ago I was researching this creator that brings out a lot of information about the labyrinth of Hawara. And then all of a sudden we're going to have information released. Now, while that might not be that specific area or that pyramid, it's bringing me back to something underneath the pyramid. So a labyrinth, a hall of information or records. It's going to rewrite history. So chambers, tunnels, underground, a massive complex underground, a labyrinth, passages, sealed rooms, knowledge, information. Okay, so shift in perspective is saying it's going to be different than what we thought. So this may rewrite what with the knowledge they receive from these underground chambers or this labyrinth, may view the way we see certain gods, Egyptian gods, or rulership, what we've believed the pyramids were used for. That illusion is about to be dissolved. I wonder if we're going to be seeing something about radiant energy alignment. So is there evidence of how the pyramid structures, or what structures are underground, and pyramids being used for power plants? Because we've got the card here of radiant energy and how they aligned. So what did the pyramids align to? Did they align to each other? Did they align to monoliths? If there's a connection between monoliths and pyramids, or power structures, energy, radiant energy coming from pyramids. What are the structures underground? Is it giant monoliths underground? So the illusion finally being dissolved. So what we thought the pyramids were used for, we're discovering a shift in perspective. It's not that way. It's a little bit different than what we've believed in history. Now, coming back to the prophecy, a new knowledge must arrive. Mankind must awaken to this new knowledge. A new knowledge shall come into the world. So it will dissolve the illusions that we've believed around perhaps energy, perhaps something to do with halls or passages underneath. And maybe it's cosmic alignments. Because we have alignment, starseed and cosmic family, but maybe it's not, maybe it's the alignment of the stars. Maybe it's an alignment with Regulus, the one they're talking about, where on the horizon it appears red as it aligns to the Sphinx. Now alignment, the word alignment on the card is matching that prophecy of aligning to the gaze of the Sphinx. A new knowledge shall come into the world. So what cosmic alignments are relevant here that reveal forgotten knowledge? Now this is a little woo-woo, but is it connected to reincarnation? I don't believe that's information. Logically, I don't believe that's what's going to be revealed. And even if it is that, I don't think that information would be revealed. But these two cards together are showing, and I'll show you the connections here. The Halls of Amenti, the Akashic Records, connected to the Atlantean or Egyptian, has a lot to do with the reincarnation cycle. And then over here, when we reincarnate, we have our minds wiped. We are coerced, forced, or tricked, manipulated into reincarnating. Now coming back to this in a more logical way, because I do not believe that's information that's going to be revealed, but it could be indicating that there was something underground, like Akashic Records, Halls of Amenti. Alignments to the certain cosmic energy or monoliths or other pyramids shows the shift in perspective on what these monoliths, great buildings, being the pyramids, were really used for, especially since there is activity beneath them. Now, whether that activity is monoliths or giant columns or some kind of power structure, power system, radiant energy, or whether it's the halls of Amenti, Akashic records, or some kind of passageways or hidden information, they have been guarded and protected. Now, this is a choice that's being made whether or not to tell the collective, to reveal this information to collective. Now, why is Chris Bledsoe being invited by Egyptian authorities to be part of this knowledge being revealed? Part of his prophecy was that mankind must awaken to this new knowledge that needs to be told right now. Paraphrasing, of course. A new knowledge shall come into the world. All connected to Egypt. The prophecy said the Sphinx. So it is connected to Egypt. And then he gets invited to go to Egypt. So I'm drawn to, when I looked at this card and this card, I am drawn to the research of as I gave his details earlier, talking about a giant labyrinth or different halls. So what, a new discovery perhaps, or something it changes what we believed, certain gods or certain kings or certain, the original use of the temples or the pyramids. What were they really used for? It's rewritten it, or rewrite history on what it's actually used for. This Minotaur reminds me of the labyrinth. Halls of Amenti is large underground areas believed to be underneath the Sphinx too, by the way. If we're not talking about reincarnation, we're talking about forgotten knowledge finally being revealed and the illusion dissolved. So what we did believe is going to be a little bit different. And what is it related to? It's about alignment. It's about radiant energy. It's about underground caverns, rooms, monoliths, and what they're really used for. So it's going to rewrite Egypt and what Egypt really was. Okay, one more card pull. I just find it very interesting why the Egyptian authorities are wanting to release the information right now. That I find kind of interesting. And then also, why did they invite Chris Bledsoe to be part of this? Little alarm bells are ringing off. I don't know if they're ringing off for you. Let me know. Something is weird here. But let's see what the cards want to reveal. Kind of interesting cards here on the table. So the Thoth is, of course, another Egyptian god, also connected to Atlantis. The Halls of Amenti, which is the records or what was supposedly hidden underneath the Sphinx. So again, that information is repeating itself. Now there's only 2 Egyptian cards in this deck, and that both of them have appeared. One is Thoth and the other is Apis Bull. So that's the two Egyptian cards in this deck, and both of them have come out. Why would the Egyptian authorities want to reveal this information right now? You have to think of the bigger perspective here. There's something bigger on the table. Maybe they're not revealing all information because the Serpent's Keep is again guarded information. Just like we had a guarded information card on the last spread. So that it's bigger than what will be revealed. So there's more to it than what will be revealed. But we seem to be going, it's either a repeating pattern or upcoming cycle that is repeating, which is why it has to be revealed now. A return, even? A return of what? Return of what? Especially since that may kind of coincide with the Chris Bledsoe prophecy. Cloak of confusion, mind fog or forgetfulness. Again, we had the mind wipe card. This is something that collectively we have to awaken to right now. The cloak of illusion or cloak of confusion is about to be dissolved. Radiant sun makes me think about the sun god Ra, but also radiant energy to do with pyramids. So we have to think bigger. I think we need to see all the signs. I think there's many signs pointing to it from the prophecy through to many things. It's about joining the dots and connecting things here. But I don't think everything is going to be released. I think there's more to it than what is. There's still heavily guarded information here, cloaked or information. But it's almost like certain things must be revealed at this time. Hope you enjoyed that reading. I'll be back again next week. Let me know if there's something that you got out of that, or something you'd like me to ask the cards relating to these upcoming prophecies, because my spidey senses have been tingling that something actually is happening right at the moment. And I think people are just brushing it off. So let me know what you're getting, what you're picking up on, and what you'd like me to read on. And I'll see you next time.